tripod's a little slanted. So welcome back to another video. I'm going to kind of bring you on to a behind the scenes look of creating a cinematic lighting atmosphere with what I have and what I'm able to do with all the equipment that I have. And I think this is going to be probably the most practical type of lighting that you can do with very minimum amount of lighting gear. Now, this is going to be whether if you're doing standard interview, like talking headpiece like this, you know, maybe like a moody style film or something creative, whatever it is. But I'm just going to kind of go through a few different lighting techniques that we can use for our future films that we're going to be shooting. So right now, this is going to be like your basic, almost like a high key lighting with some practical lights behind me. I got the gobo 60W here, and I believe it's at 10%. So first off, I wanted to talk about the gear that I'm going to be using. So I'm actually using the Axoon wireless follow focus. I'm shooting this talking headpiece right now on the red Komodo with the Rokinon DSX Cine lens 50mm t1.5 with the Canon speed booster giving us a full frame image on the Komodo. And this is also shot in 6K 17:9 sensor readout in LQ mode. So let's get into some cool lighting techniques. So right now we have some practicals behind me with the gobo 60 watt right now. Now I'm gonna remove this diffuser in front of it and kind of show you what it's gonna give me without diffusing the light. So as you can see, the light is very harsh. It's kind of too bright right now, and this is actually at 10%. Now I don't want to put an ND on this lens only because I just feel like I don't need to. I can actually just control the light instead of controlling the lens. We're gonna bring that back in to soften and kind of just down that light a bit, just a tiny bit, just so my face isn't too harsh. So now we are back to the simple lighting that we had in the beginning. Now I'm gonna add a black cloth to give us some negative fill, kind of just darken this side over here to make things look a little bit more proper or cinematic or whatever term you want to use. But we're just gonna, there's a lot of brightness going on here because this light is coming in on this side. So we're just gonna add some negative fill here. All right, so there we go. We have the black cloth or negative fill right here on my side. So now what I'm gonna do is keep what I got right here in front of me, and I'm going to turn off the practical lighting in the back. Also, I just wanted to say the most important thing of doing talking head pieces or just filming in general with certain lighting is you always want to make sure you get the proper colors coming out of your camera. With this, we're going to be white balancing from using the white or the gray with the dropper tool in DaVinci Resolve. So now what I'm going to do is go on my app and I'm going to turn these lights off behind me. Now that's what this kind of style of interview would look like, which if you don't have any practicals behind you, I would highly recommend bringing practicals on a scene if you are doing talking pieces, or even if it's something that you got to bring into production yourself. It kind of just adds a little bit more of an artistic and a creative look to your films. So as you can see, like, you know, it does give us more depth to play with in this whole talking headpiece, but I feel like adding those lights, it kind of just creates it more realistic or more as if we were actually in a basement. But I mean, realistically, we are not in a basement. I built this scene, so this is what this looks like right now. So I'm gonna go ahead, turn these back on. So now one thing is that, as you can tell, we have a white source here, and then we also have an orange source in the back for lamps, because that's like the most common light color for lamps or in a vintage style set. We could change those to white, but I just think, you know, the color of the background, it's actually adding in with the same kind of color, the whole tone and everything is matching. So what we can actually do is remove this gobo 60 watt here, which is creating this white source, and I can add a pavo tube here and change the color to orange to kind of motivate the practical lights, making it look like that those practical lights are kind of lighting me up, but realistically it's not. I'm kind of way too in front of the lamps, but we're just gonna go ahead, create this little scene, and just to show you a few different lighting techniques as well, creating with a Pavo tube or a regular Godox 60 watt light that we can add a diffuser on. We got the Pavo tube set to 2900 at, I believe, 20% of the light. So now what this is giving us is basically making it look like those two lamps back there are kind of lighting the entire scene. Now I still do have a huge diffuser in front of the Pavo tube, so we're gonna take a look at what that looks like. So we still have the negative on my side here and the diffuser on this side. So now we're gonna remove both of them and we're gonna see what that will give us as well. All right, so now as you can tell, the lighting is somewhat harsh on my face over here, and it's not as dark over here, where that negative fill is really doing a lot in the video, as some people might not realize that a black sheet or some sort of cloth that's black. And then we're just gonna, so now as you can tell, it's much softer. So now we're gonna add the negative on the side again, so we don't see it in the video. Now I'm actually using an iPad to view all my red Komodo footage that I'm doing, so it's much easier to turn the lamps off now again and see what this Pavo tube in this color is going to, or what kind of look this Pavo tube is going to give us. Now the lights that I'm using in the back for my practicals, I bought at the dollar store. They're made by Sylvania, and it comes with an app. I think I paid like $5 for 3-pack or 2-pack, and I would highly recommend picking these up. You don't have to pick up the $100, $2 ones, because these are doing just fine. Now I think the only difference is they might go a little bit brighter, but I think these are doing just as good. Okay, so we're gonna turn both of them off. So it's the first top two. This is still somewhat of a good technique to use if you're lighting interviews. But like, we got those lamps in the back, so what we're trying to do is kind of motivate everything in the back to make it look more realistic. So let's bring everything back in. See, now it's making those trees pop out, or the plants in the background. We're gonna bring this one down to 40 as well. I think that is actually better with doing this lighting technique here. So I just kind of showed you a few quick techniques. Now we're gonna grab another lighting, now we're gonna grab another piece of light, and we're gonna actually add a piece on the end of the light that's called the gobo. It's gonna kind of look like we're in a scene where there's light coming from outside of a house shining through a window, and we're gonna aim that on the back of the wall here to make it look like we're kind of talking in a bedroom, which that's what this whole piece is supposed to be intended for. So we're gonna actually make it look like there's blinds somewhere where the light is shining through. Okay. I do have this lamp off, and I put the trees right in front of the gobo. Now, if I had someone else here, I can shake those trees to make it look like it's windy outside, so it actually makes it look like that light source is from outside. So it would kind of be like this. Shaking trees, all that stuff, make it look like it's coming from outside. Now let's see if we can turn one of these lights on. So now we can either go with that orange light on the practical back there, but we can also turn it to a different color as well, something in the background. But yeah, so that's another scene we can do with the gobo, and we still have the Pavo tube. Actually, I'm gonna grab the behind the scenes camera and show you what kind of looks like from my point of perspective. So this is the camera we got softening this pavo tube. We have the black cloth and the pavo tube, and this is where the gobo is coming from, shining in through there. Another type of lighting we can do is kind of over top of us to kind of mimic, you know, ceiling lighting. Now, now the pavo tube is directly above us, creating those kind of dark, gross shadows. This is what we would actually get if we were to light in an actual room without proper lighting. This pavo tube is basically acting like a ceiling light, coming down. You know what? I don't mind it. It's pretty cool. Now this is where it gets moody. Turn on these lamps behind us. We're gonna turn that one on. I'd roll with something like this if we're shooting a short film or something. If we had those trees moving. If we had those trees moving, me sitting down, creates a cool look. I dig it, it's all right. If you guys like this video, if there's other different cool lighting techniques that you guys kind of do on set, or something you guys do in general for talking head or short film, stuff like that, let me know. But until then, we'll see you guys on the next video.